Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik, Pawlik Automotive. We're doing our second hangout, actually, of 2017. We're going to talk about Ford gasoline-powered trucks. Bernie, how are Ford's gas-powered vehicles?
Well, my comment on it would be fair, not excellent, just fair for reliability.
So that seems like a pretty surprising comment, given how popular Ford truck sales have been for so many years.
Yeah, I've often wondered about Fords. Worked on them for a long time, and I guess I shouldn't complain because they do bring a lot of work at our door, which tells you something. But they're not as reliable as I would think. And they certainly don't sell their vehicles because of reliability. I think the marketing for Ford is good. They are a nice truck, and they're fairly reliable. But there are a lot of things that do go wrong with them that I sometimes make me question whether I'd ever want to own one.
So let's talk about engines. Ford uses a variety of engines in different models. How are these?
Well, let's start with V8 engines. These are what you'll find in the F-150. Of course, actually, there are V6 options in the F-150. We'll talk about the V8s because they've been popular for a long time. 4.6 liter, 5.4 liter. A lot of issues with these engines. Things that shouldn't happen, like the early Triton engines, the 5.4 liters, they would blow spark plugs out of their holes because Ford didn't thread the spark plugs deep enough, and under extremely heavy loads, the spark plugs would loosen off and they'd actually blow out and tear the threads with them. And that would often happen under pretty harsh circumstances. It's kind of a classic example might be a mini bus with, fully loaded with people going up a highway grade hill and blowing a spark plug. Well, what do you do? You call a tow truck and find a new bus for your passengers. So these would be the things that would happen quite frequently. Then they redesigned the engine and they used a spark plug that would break off when you went to change it because it has an unusual design. Nobody else uses this. It's an obscure design, and many times the spark plugs will break off inside the bore. So it's not the kind of thing you want to take out readily if you're going to change the spark plugs, and you do have to from time to time, although there is a long service interval, fortunately. But when you do, there can be an extra anywhere from 1 to 8 hours worth of labor to change that. If you add that up, that's a lot of extra money. So things that shouldn't happen. And then finally in 2008, 2009, they put a proper spark plug in where it doesn't break off anymore and it doesn't blow out. So I don't know why it took 10 years to figure that out, but it did. Anyway, so those are some of the things with Ford V8 engines. They do have timing chain problems on a lot of the overhead cam engines. And these are engines you've got to do good maintenance. We've talked about this before. Change your oil regularly, change it a little more often even than the factory interval. But make sure you change it. Don't ever let it run low on oil. Any engine with an overhead valve system, overhead cam, sorry, you've got to keep the lubrication going in the engine. It's absolutely critical.
So on some of the other vehicles, the Explorer and Ranger often use V6. How are they?
Again, these engines, I'd only rate them as being fair. They run well, they work well, but given a bit of time, they tend to get a few years, like 10 or more years old. They tend to start having timing chain problems, and again, these are really expensive to fix. They're not a simple fix. The 4-liter engine has one timing chain at the back of the engine. You have to pull the engine out just to replace it. So again, there's a lot of issues with these. We've replaced a lot of engines in these. When they run well, they are good. And they do tend to go for a long time. But again, good maintenance is important. I can't comment too much on the EcoBoost engine. We don't see a lot of trucks with them. I know they are fairly popular. In the early years when they came out, we serviced a number of these vehicles for a fleet, and they seemed to be good. But this is an engine it's got 2 turbochargers on a V6 for fuel economy. It's a smart idea, but 2 turbochargers, even 1 turbocharger is expensive. So when 2 go, it'll cost a lot. So again, good maintenance, change the oil regularly, do that, it'll keep things going.
And the rest of the truck?
Yes, exactly.
How's the rest of the truck?
The rest of the truck, yeah, again, I'd say fair. I mean, there are a number of things that happen, you know, and I'm thinking like overall the drivetrain and chassis on an F-150, for instance, is quite well built, quite reliable. Steering suspension components last a long time. Brakes pretty good. You know, differentials, transmissions, they're all pretty reliable as well. Same with the Explorer. Early Explorers had a lot of transmission problems, but the newer ones are, I'd say newer, like, you know, last 10 years have been pretty trouble-free. So yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, other than, you know, a few little nitpicky electrical issues that can kind of happen on any vehicle, they're overall pretty good.
Final thought?
Yeah, I mean, good trucks, but you know, like any vehicle, I mean, educate yourself on what can go wrong with it before you buy it, and that'll kind of help in your decision. You know, if you wanted an F-150 with a diesel, I'd buy something that was newer than like a 2009 and newer, because they're just, you know, they're just, you're not going to have the spark plug problems you have in the older ones. And make sure the vehicle is well maintained if you buy something used. That's really important.
So if you're looking for service for your vehicle, Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver. We've got really a lot of feedback right now, Bernie. Can you turn your speakers down?
Sure.
Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, 604-327-7112, or check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com. Remember, they've been voted 16 times best auto repair in Vancouver. They're the guys to see if you need your truck serviced in Vancouver. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Talk to you later.